red.
We're on the backwoods of Virginia.
Welcome to the Table Talk. Hi, I'm Brittany. If you're new here again.
Anthony.
And today we have two new guests. We have Amanda and Eric, and we'll get into a little bit of how we know them and take you along on this journey tonight. So grab your drink of choice and join us.
Well, tonight.
Cheers. Tonight we're doing tequila. Again.
No surprise there.
Ready? Go.
So, the tequila tonight is just like last time. Red, one stripe. I think that's the name. I'm not even sure if that's the real name.
There's none of those words are on the bottle.
It's 1, 2, 3 organic tequila.
We're
I mean, that's pretty much what he said.
1, 2, 3
Okay.
organic tequila.
with a red one. Well, I don't know.
They do have twos and stuff, like the different types of tequila.
Oh.
So how do we know Amanda and Eric? Do you remember the first time that we met them?
Well.
Yeah, tell us.
Okay. So. How come this just turned? This just took a turn on me.
Because
First off, they were our neighbors about 6 years ago, and that's kind of how we met.
And that's
Being
it,
neighbors,
right?
right there. I
Done.
came home and we were just great
the end of the
friends.
story of the podcast.
Yeah, right.
Cheers.
Well, anyway, you guys had some time, so I'm so thankful that you guys chose to come up here to visit. And
Finally live on the same coast.
yeah.
That's great.
I wish you guys would have stayed a little bit longer so we could live a little bit closer. Because as soon as we moved here, they moved to another state on the East Coast. And I was really looking forward to hanging out more. But you know what? 4 hours, right? Yeah, it's not that bad. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Definitely doable. Finally.
So,
Alright, so the
are we
first
gonna answer
time-
the question?
The first time that we met Amanda and
Okay.
Eric. Well, we met Eric
So,
first, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So we weren't married yet at the time
Mm-hmm.
when I purchased the house. And to be honest, I don't remember the first time we actually met. But there was, in our neighborhood, it was the 3 last houses that were built.
Right.
And we purchased them about the same time.
Yeah.
And then I lived there, bought the house, and then like a couple of months later, locked the door and went away on my deployment.
Yes.
And
Because
we
you had
were
a jungle
dating.
in the backyard.
We were-
Yeah, I cut the grass.
We did cut the grass.
Whatever. It wasn't grass. It was like a few patches,
Sporadic
some mud.
weeds.
I could have literally picked it up, but I just felt it was nice to go with the lawnmower. You know,
You could have taken scissors and cut one piece and be like, I think we're done here.
little pods, rip the pods out.
Yeah, so like a young single guy, I just bought a house and then locked it up and left for 6 months. But then when I got back, we got engaged and got married, and then you moved down.
Mm-hmm. And then I remember because I hadn't met you guys or anything, and then we wanted to put in a fence, and he said, "Oh, I think the neighbors wanted to. They seem really nice. Go talk to them."
Yeah.
And then I came out and I was talking to Britt about it, and she's like, "Well, I'll have to talk to my husband, but I think we'll do that."
Yeah. We wanted to, but I know it was a lot of money, so anything that is a lot of money, I'm just like, might be a pulling teeth to try
That
Yeah.
was then.
accomplish.
Now, it's changed drastically. I'm
Maybe
like,
I can build the fence,
Yeah, I'm like,
Jeff says.
doesn't that cost a lot of money? That's now. Like, I gotta ask her.
But I think the deal was like we're gonna put up a fence. So if you guys want to pay for 3/4 of a fence, you can just go off of ours.
You realized that I was there alone because he was never home, even though he'd just gotten back, and I had no friends there. And you were like, "We're gonna go to wine at the gas station," and I was like,
I don't remember this wine at the gas station. I really don't.
"Yeah,
I was involved in this.
yeah."
So,
It was
and
like
it's not this one shot of tequila.
Yeah.
I really don't remember.
Yeah. And so we went, and it was in the little town we lived in. The gas station had wine, and we went, and it was $5 for 5 tastings, and we hung out and enjoyed each other and she was very quiet, and Anthony and I were.
Yeah.
Just going.
But that's okay. That makes
Yeah.
me feel more comfortable, actually, because I'm not the big talker.
I'm the friend maker. She's the friend keeper. Right? I'm just like, hey!
Which is very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes sense
Yeah.
because if we were both talkers, it would not work.
Could be overwhelming.
Or if we were both
Yeah.
quiet, that'd be boring.
So I'm the one that'll, hey, what's going on? But Britt's the one that'll send the cards. She'll send the text. She'll give the calls. I do that, but not nearly as much or as sweet and sentimental as Britt is. She does.
Yeah.
She's good at the
Thank
Christmas, Thanksgiving, holiday thing. I'm just like, hey, what's up? Let's say a joke, you know? Like, hey, let's get this going. That's more my jam.
I'm like, hey, it's so-and-so's birthday. Maybe you should send
Yeah,
a text
if the
message.
memories on my Facebook don't pop up, it's not that I don't love you. I
Yeah.
just didn't remember to say happy birthday, Merry Christmas, you know, those things. So that is how we met. This was all pre-kids. Like, we didn't have Niall or Danon, so there was a lot of
Well, the last 7 months was I was pregnant.
well, she
And then
got
I
pregnant.
moved when we were 8 months pregnant.
There was a lot of alcoholic beverages involved, a lot of good times. Stuff,
Loud music
like loud
and-
music, partying, dancing, Hennessy.
You taught me to pull down, not push up.
Dance moves.
Yeah, I we needed some
Yeah.
clarification. I was
It was like,
yeah.
no, I didn't teach you.
Yeah, I was like, pull-ups? I did
edit.
do pull-ups. I don't know about all, yeah, like, I was lost for a minute, but hey.
No.
Yeah.
Because I was a girl with no rhythm that couldn't dance. And I was like, I love this song. And you're like, girl, no. Pull the fist down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Those,
I was like, I still don't know what you're saying, but okay.
yeah, Hennessy. No.
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 This is,
Which we discussed earlier was the
Yeah.
one and only time I've
Yeah.
had Hennessy was at your house.
oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that in the lessons learned. Don't listen when somebody says it's great.
It is.
It's not great.
In my opinion.
I don't think I had anything else to suggest to be greater because I don't even drink Hennessy. Right? Didn't I? You said I suggested that you try it and it was good or something.
He did.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's.
I did. Britt didn't do it. No, she didn't
No,
do it.
I don't.
No.
Yeah, she tried it. She thought she liked it.
Yeah,
Until
when
she
I was
drank a little bit
When I was
too much and
21.
it was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
She wanted like Bahama Mamas and things that are a little light.
I didn't even know what I wanted. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a story about how you guys met, because I think it's actually a really
How much
a
time
really
you got?
fun
Yeah.
a really fun story about the plane ride.
So I was actually thinking about this on the way up.
So, a girlfriend of mine from grade school lived in the town he had just gotten to. I didn't know that. I had gone to visit her a few times a year for about 10 years. I usually flew from Cleveland to Charlotte down to the town I was going to. This time she made me go through Atlanta Airport. I refused profusely, but she said it was cheaper and booked my flight and made me go. So I got on my flight in Cleveland, Ohio at 7 in the morning, was angry because when I got to Atlanta, as expected, I had a 3-hour delay. So the only thing to do is to have Bloody Marys until my next flight took off.
Yeah.
Right?
What
So,
else?
I mean,
Not have
if you're
that.
gonna make me fly through Atlanta,
Yeah.
so I sat in Atlanta Airport. I had as many Bloody Marys as I could fit. I get on my flight. I'm all the way in the back, and the only 2 seats in the back. I sat next to another girl around my age, chatted for about 5 minutes, fell asleep, took a nap for the rest of the flight. Woke up. She said she was going to visit her brother who had just been stationed there. She tried to go visit him every station, and I said, great, you'll love the area. Didn't think anything more of it. I get to the airport, we get off. My girlfriend was usually there. She wasn't. He wasn't to pick her up. And we sat on a bench. He pulled up behind a pillar. I never saw him. Didn't care. She just waved goodbye. And that was the last I thought I'd see them, maybe out later. And
Kate was knocking and you weren't even.
Yeah,
you weren't
no.
even trying to open the door.
I was just mad. I was still sitting on a bench outside the airport waiting for my friend to show up. And she shows up, and we went to the beach. We went out that night, and I didn't want to go. She made me go. I made her.
You're getting way ahead.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
then interjects his side.
Yes. And my sister comes to visit me, and she's flying out of Atlanta. And I go to pick her up at the small airport where we're at. And I pull up, she hops in, we say hey, we get in the truck, and we're driving off. And as we're driving off, she waves. So naturally I look over, and there's a girl standing there, and I was like, who's that?
Who's your
She's like,
friend?
oh, that's the girl I sat next to on the airplane. I was like, cool.
No way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this story, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know this. How you
This is
know?
why we're
It
telling
gets better.
There's two
Yeah.
different
Gets
sides
better.
of the story.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Well, I'm glad you're hearing it for the first time because I know it and I think it's so cool.
Okay.
So I say, all right, like who, so, you sat next to her on the airplane. She's like, yeah, she's coming here to visit her friend who works on base. And I was like, great. And she was like, yeah, she said, I'm really going to love the town. It's a really nice spot. And I'm like, this is all sounding really good. And my sister says, yeah, she said we should hang out sometime this weekend. I'm like, perfect wing woman.
Yeah.
My sister is like hooking it up. I'm like, all right, so you like got her number? And she goes, nope. She said it's a really small town. We'll probably run into each other. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like driving away, like, oh well, whatever.
And this is noon
Noon
of the
of the day.
Yeah.
Noon of the day.
yeah. I think it was a Friday.
On the
It was a
same day
Friday.
that
It
you
was
landed?
Friday,
or
yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
1300
So you got
years
in in the
noon of
morning.
day.
Yes.
Okay.
So I,
Of the century.
even with my early flight and 3-hour drunk layover in Atlanta, and
So
next flight
technically,
it was
it's actually
still,
5 o'clock somewhere, right?
yeah. So it was still
Yeah.
noon of the day.
But yeah, so we
The 13th.
so we drive off part of town. So we're gonna meet up with some of our other friends down by the beach, and we end up doing that and hanging out.
Yeah. So then
Me and my sister.
So you didn't bump into each other
No.
on the beach?
I
Not-
never.
not the first day.
Oh, not
I
the
didn't
first
even
day.
no. So I didn't even see him when he was driving away.
Oh, okay.
Like the pillar blocked it,
Yeah.
and then she blocked him,
And he was.
and I had
he
no
Bloody Marys
interest.
it.
Yeah, I had no interest
She
in.
wasn't there going to look for a...
Yeah, so I had no interest in meeting him or what he looked like, and the way she had described it, because I was 31 at the time. The way she had described it, she said my little brother or my younger brother, and I just thought
He was 18 or whatever,
young
like a
Marine,
new-
whatever
new
it was. And so I had it just didn't even cross my mind. So my girlfriend picks me up. We go get our stuff for the beach. We go to the beach all day. We go back to her house. I said, I'm done. I've been up since 5 a.m. I can't do this. She makes me go. And I looked her in the eye because we've been friends forever. And I said, you're buying the wine is all I said to her. And
Yeah.
she's like, fine, get in the car. So we go out. We're out for a while, just her and I. And I said to my girlfriend, I was like, oh, there's that girl I sat next to on the plane. I'm going to
way.
go say hello. And she's like, okay,
No, I'm
Pause.
serious.
Okay.
Cause you get too far ahead.
I feel like I'm right there.
Yeah, I know.
I'm there. Wherever
right-
we're
yeah,
going,
right.
I'm there. I'm
Right.
I'm with it.
Okay.
So
But I
it's
don't
the
know.
second day.
I don't know the story.
No, this is all the same day.
The same day.
This is
Okay.
all the same
Yeah.
day. So this is that Friday.
So a friend bought the
We'd
wine.
both been at the beach all day.
Mm-hmm.
Had no idea who each other were. Nothing. I go back to my friend's house. We eat dinner. I'm dressed, but asleep on the couch, and she drags me out, and we go out, and I say, "There's the girl I sat next to on the plane." Pause for dramatic effect.
So my sister and I go down and meet our friends, and we go to the beach and hang out, have a good time. And then while we were down there, there's a couple of bars and stuff. So we walk in, and we just come off the beach, so I'm in like flip-flops and board shorts or whatever. And we walk in naturally, like I said, single guy, playing the field. So I walk in and take a look around the room, kind of scope out, what kind of talent we're working with this evening.
Seeing the stallions in the stable.
So, and this is the part that, some people don't believe. But I noticed a very attractive girl standing there with what appeared to be a friend of hers. So I noticed her, and I'm like, yeah, good looking girl. I'm going to get a drink. So I go start walking towards the bar. And at this point, said attractive girl freaks out and starts waving to my sister.
So I see Sarah, and I go up to her and say hello, and hi, how are you? I told you we'd see each other. I told you we'd meet up. And she's like, of course. Like, how are you? Did you have a good time? Whatever. And she turns around and says, oh, and by the way, this is my brother, and points to him, and
you
I'm
drop on the floor
well, I was thinking it was gonna, again, I'm thinking like young, like,
Yeah.
and I turned around, I was like, I'll hang out with you for the weekend. You're not
You didn't
bad.
mention how
I mean, you
old
didn't-
your brother was
Yeah.
and how handsome your brother was. Like, you didn't give me any details here.
Yeah, so I had no idea how old she was. They had no idea how old I was. I didn't know how old he was. And so we chatted, and I thought it was really great that it was a Friday night at, what was a nightclub in the area, and he was in board shorts, flip-flops, and like a white t-shirt, just like dancing and loving life.
Flexing his pecs.
Yeah,
He's
but
like,
just
come on.
loving life. Like, I'm here, I'm ready, and I'm like, yes, like,
You
this
should
is
have a
it.
drink.
Like, he doesn't care, I had my glasses on and like a sundress, and like my hair maybe was washed. I don't know. I had been drinking all day.
It smelled like Bloody Mary.
Yeah, everything was sketch. Everything was sketch at this point. The fact that I had wedges on, it wasn't on the ground. I was stoked that I was like living my life as a solid adult at this point. So we hung out that evening and then exchanged numbers, and then he actually came the next day and met us at the beach, my girlfriend and I, and brought beer. But the beach we were at was a state park or state beach, and you could not have alcohol. And he actually like threw away his cooler and all the beer in it. And one of their friends that came with them, she was like, I've never seen him get rid of alcohol like that. He must really want to be here at the beach. And I was like, he got rid of like 5 Bud Lights, but cool.
Yeah. Some natty lights.
Yeah.
Like, all
Wow,
right.
it's really
I threw away
something.
$3.50.
Right. I have really made
So
it.
special.
He was drunk on something else.
Yeah.
Drunk on love over there.
So we hung out the rest of that weekend, and I said my goodbyes, and like, I'm gonna go back home and never see you again. And then we talked like once a week, and you were getting ready to, well, I guess we dated for a little while, in about a year, and then you deployed, but I never expected that I'd see you again.
Here we are.
There you
Yeah.
go. Fast forward.
Yeah, and I'm not a crier, and about 7 months in, I was leaving him. I came down to visit, and I was leaving North Carolina, and I hugged him, and I started crying, and I was like, get on the plane. Like,
Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
Bloody Marys.
Oh,
Bring the
those
Bloody
seasons.
Marys into the story again.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just bring it
Yeah,
in.
so I was like, just get on the plane, you wuss.
So how
So-
long was it before, from that trip, that first trip, to when you guys like got engaged? Do you know?
When we got engaged,
Yeah.
it was almost 2 years.
2 years.
So we
So
actually,
you did long distance for like,
the whole time.
yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I got a boyfriend. Like, what do I do with my life? Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, then you deployed. Went down to visit him, and that was the first time he said I love you. And it was probably like 15, 16 months in.
Goodness, man, I feel like I rushed that one.
Yeah, I mean,
I said thank you. When Britt said I love you, I said thank you. That was our first exchange. I wasn't ready. I was just saying.
I was young, dumb, and stupid.
No,
and
that's the reason why you said it. Because I said thank you. I appreciate it. I'll get back to you on that. I love you. You know, I'm just saying. I was going through some
and
rough
then he
stuff.
didn't answer his phone all weekend, so I was like, oh, great. This is
Yeah.
wonderful.
I just, you know, things just got, you know, thank you.
And then even when he said I love you and I said it back, I felt that it was just, he was a person that I wanted around.
Yeah.
You know, he was my person where I was like, I don't know what our future is, but it's got to be that I can call you and be like, this day was crap, or listen to what happened. And so that's kind of where we're at. He deploys, he comes back. We had never talked about marriage, future,
we
anything.
never spent more than a weekend together.
Yeah. And then
3 days tops.
That's crazy.
Yeah. To summarize it all on my end is that he came back and he said, you know, I'm going to go visit my parents. This was in June. And then he said, I'm going to go visit my parents July 4th weekend.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, makes sense. You know, I'll see you in 6 to 8 weeks because that's our norm. And he says, because everybody over the deployment said either they break up with you or they marry you, right? And so this was like ingrained. And I was like, well, we're definitely not getting married, so I'm getting the boot
I don't know
here.
where that's a defined print, by the way.
Yeah, but
Well,
it was.
I mean, it kind of happens.
You're right.
But it was, yeah. And so it was one of those things for me where I was like, okay, well, you know, he's going to see his mom, and then he said, hey, I'm not gonna go see my mom. I'm gonna come see you. And I was like, he's a good Southern boy. He's gonna come up and do it in person. So he shows up and he's there for a couple days and he's being really weird. And I am uncomfortable thinking, well, he's not gonna break up with me in the beginning. He's gonna wait, you know? And so the whole time I'm uncomfortable, and then he ends up proposing, and I was like, this went way the other way. Like, I thought we were breaking up. He's like, why would we break up? I'm like, I don't know. But I definitely didn't think we were gonna get married. So then
There was no thought in your mind that he was gonna come up.
we had never talked
She
about
thought
it.
I was gonna break up with her.
Aw.
We had never talked about it. And so I was like, well,
That's
we never even
crazy.
talked about marriage. And like, he
And like
doesn't.
the whole weekend I was being weird because I was like trying to like
Probably
get up with
nervous.
her dad and like ask her dad like before I asked her, and we were supposed to go golf, and then it was raining, and so I was like, I don't know, Larry, like you just want to go like get some lunch or something? And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
You probably thought you were acting super weird too.
Yeah. Well, and then I asked him, I'm like, hey, you know, would it be all right? Because he was asking me like what my future plans were and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, glad you asked. Maybe
Yeah.
I would like to marry your daughter.
Right.
And I'm not kidding. He was like,
Oh,
and I was like,
oh,
I asked the wrong question.
Yeah, right,
like, he was like, no, that's just like super traditional, and like I, you know, wasn't
Aw,
expecting
so
that.
he was like
that's
happy,
great.
crying,
Yeah.
kind of like.
But yeah,
aw.
it was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had never talked about it. And so whenever my dad asked about him, I was like, you know, I just really like him, Dad. I don't know. Like, see?
Wait, did I ask?
No, you didn't. But we won't.
No.
I didn't ask. You're right.
You could barely ask me to marry you that night.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
let
saying.
alone other people
I don't-
for
Let alone
permission.
getting permission from us.
Yeah,
anybody else.
yeah. Well, I did ask Nancy, Nana.
Oh, okay.
I did ask Mom. So, and I think it was on deployment actually. Now that you talk about, yeah, I think
That
it was
was like
in
a
a
year
letter.
later. And see, you either break up with them or you marry them.
Well,
There
It
you
was
go.
one of those where he's like, if I send it off in a letter, I can't change my mind. He like
Yeah.
licks the stamp and
It was an email actually. I
You
think.
emailed her.
I think it was an email. Yeah, I don't think I wrote it. I'm not sure. I'm on the long game. Like I knew
Oh
it was
my
coming
God.
in the future, but I didn't know how close. So, yeah, I don't think I
Well, at
asked.
least you asked her down and she approved it.
The best part, courthouse wedding.
Yup, 125
yeah.
bucks.
$125.
Said
Look
and
at us
done.
now.
There you go.
We did spend like 150 on lunch though. That was ridiculous. But yes. But yeah, so
Splurged on your
I
wedding?
know.
Like, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I mean,
right?
I'm not gonna
Like-
be paid more for-
$300 on your wedding.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeesh,
Like,
yeah.
how much did we?
I don't have that kind of money now, okay?
Britt and I wasn't even friends. We didn't even really know each other.
You just got married?
No, what I'm saying is like we just
I just got
kinda-
pregnant. And
Yeah,
I got
you just
married.
got married and
No, I'm
pregnant.
joking, no.
We was
not how it
like we were just acquainted. Like I just worked with Britt.
No,
And
I had
was
a vendetta
friends-
out to, date
Well,
you.
well,
Like, it's okay.
she wanted to date me. It wasn't like we're gonna establish any type of friendship or anything. I was friends with her friends.
But where did you guys work together?
We were lifeguards.
Yeah, we
We
met
were
at
there.
the pool
Yeah, we met at the pool. But
You
what I'm
sound-
saying is,
in my bathing suit.
Yeah.
we were.
In those also flattering lifeguard suits.
Classic Sandlot, scene. I'm joking.
But what I was saying was,
No, you were a better swimmer than I was, anyway. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He's not even like, no.
Making us proud. I was the best for making us proud, I'm saying. But what I'm saying, we wasn't really friends. I just was a friend to one of your friends, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right, you were close with Jackie and stuff, and I was friends with Jackie.
yeah, so we just had a mutual friend, right? Yeah, that was brought us together, but it just happened fast. It wasn't as nice as that kind of.
No, wasn't as nice as
Yeah, like
But
it
ours
wasn't-
isn't even glamorized. It's just we were
It was
kind of
fate.
lazy.
Yours was like fate.
I mean,
Like, it's so
everything
fun
pulled us
to,
together
like,
when we
think
were
about.
like, this is dumb. It's never going to work. And then here we are 10 years in, and I'm like, we're going to be at like 50 and be like, here we are.
So is that how you would make friends, though? Like you say, you was at your sister was sitting next to you on the plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of sparked up a conversation.
Well, yes. I mean, normally that's what I would do. On this exact instance, I woke up and was like, you have a magazine. You want to trade? But yes, it's, to me, I love talking to people and finding out about them and hearing their story and things like that. So for me, that's how I met. And it sounds like, I know Brittany well enough that she was probably like, hey, Jackie, who's your friend?
Oh, I asked everybody at the
Yeah,
pool who they're.
yeah.
I asked Tom, like, who
Yeah.
was your friend? Like, it all starts with a question. I think friendship starts with a simple question. Do you want to go have a wine tasting with us at the gas station?
Yeah.
But that's my like. How do you make friends like that? Like, are you?
No.
So how do you make friends?
That's exactly what you did.
I did because, I don't know, I felt you knew coming into my space, basically, like, you lived right next door, so I knew I was gonna have to interact with you. Just like Carla, when Carla invited me over to her house, well, not really, but
Britt just walked up into the driveway.
we don't
Apparently,
have to
I
go
don't
there
know.
again, okay?
I don't know, but apparently she just walked into the driveway, which is a shock to me because I would
She
not.
said
expect-
hello, I reciprocated the hello.
Okay,
Okay.
big word reciprocated.
Yes, I'm trying to expand my vocabulary.
All right, there you go.
Okay, and yeah, I think it all starts with a question. I asked who you were,
See,
what's his name, what's he about.
I'm a
I
little,
started hearing stories about him, and so I, invited him to go to the movies in a group, and nobody else showed up except him. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
What? I didn't ask anybody else to come.
Yeah, well,
Nobody else showed up. I
But-
just don't know what happened. I guess the text messages didn't go through to everybody.
What I think is interesting because I think you and I are more similar, like personality-wise.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what.
Britt,
Yeah.
and are a little bit more similar. Where it's like if you ask me like how I'm gonna make friends, I would like be like, it's kind of weird. But like you two just like talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
I'm more.
Yeah. I mean, at the grocery store.
Stop. Like Teddy Ruxpin. You put a tape in, just
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, you're at the grocery store and you're like, hey, what do you got there? You having a party? You got chips, you got soda?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
cool.
like-
Like, where do you live? I'm down for parties.
Yeah.
And he's all like, don't talk to people. You don't know them. And I'm like, well, we just got invited to a barbecue, so
Yeah.
you're
I
welcome.
know. Yeah, I'm a little bit aggressive. I don't say aggressive, but I'm just more open. Like, hey, what's going on? Oh, I like that shirt. Or I am more inclined to do that. Most of the time, sometimes I do get introverted, but yeah, I'm not saying I make friends easily because sometimes that's off-putting. I don't know about for you. Some people are like, get away from me.
Yeah.
Your breath stinks. Like, whatever it is. Like, oh, I don't want to talk to this person.
Yeah,
But I
'cause
think I find the vulnerability in, like, I knew you were new to the neighborhood,
yes.
and you were my neighbor, and I just saw you, so that's why I felt okay enough and, like, the confidence to speak and ask you. Because normally I don't, like, questions just don't pop into my head when, like, I'm hanging out in a group of new people or with new friends and stuff like that until they start asking me, or almost even the second or third interaction that I have with the people, like the person, like, I just won't ask them questions. And I don't know why, because it's not like I'm not interested. Because if you just keep talking to me, like, I'm interested. But my brain doesn't come up with the questions to make you feel like I'm interested, you know?
What I think is interesting, like, for me is like I'm okay with, like, silence and just being somewhere. You know, like, I'm okay. Like,
So gross.
if we're in the same area and we're hanging out, like, hey, that's cool. Like, we're hanging out, and some people need to fill every void of silence with noise.
I feel that awkwardness though, and I'm like, all right, I guess I need to be the one. Just like, that's when I start feeling the vibes of like, all right, it's on you to speak up. It's on you to start the conversation, or it's on you to introduce yourself, ask them a question, like, and I'll sit there for 5 minutes and try to think of a question, like 5 minutes. Like trying awkwardness of just trying to figure out a question
I don't
In 5
know.
minutes,
to
they're
not
best
be
friends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we've already,
My
like,
first novel in 5 minutes in my head. I didn't actually do.
right. I mean, like, that's
we already have a secret
different.
handshake.
I know, right? We're like,
That's the difference.
yeah.
And it's not that, because I don't want to come off creepy. I don't want to come off like suspect or like too interested. Like, I was thinking about it for 5 minutes, but like.
This is totally
But
not
I
a
wanna be-
prepared question.
Yeah.
I would like to know where you are from.
Yes.
Shake them.
What's your
warm them
favorite
by the
novel?
hand.
Oh, I see you're reading that book by so and so. 5 minutes later, and I'm like,
I've already
just
put the book
observing
down
you.
and like moved on. Well, and you had said something to me
Mm-hmm.
though that stuck with me that I realized like when we first started hanging out, but you had said it later, and it was actually when we had gotten the mulch,
Yeah.
the truck bed of mulch, and we're like, we're gonna mulch our
And
whole
it's like
yards.
flying out
Yeah,
the back of the
yeah,
truck.
and we're like, it's fine. We only paid $50 for the whole bed.
My husband won't be mad. We just filled his whole truck bed with mulch. It's fine. He just got this last month. He'll be fine. I'll wash it before he gets home.
I have no idea. So, but we were doing that, and then you had said to me, so she says, she looks at me and she goes, you know, I don't know what it is, but I'm attracted to big personalities.
I am.
It's true.
And I was like, what? She goes, like, obviously my husband. She goes, but I realized that my friendships and people that she's attracted to and wants to be around.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that makes sense because it is. And then when I started meeting all of her very close friends, it was a lot of me and yous.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like you need that.
I
that
do.
that I don't want to say
Well, it helps-
aggressiveness, but that, I guess, big personality. Because I don't think I have a big personality. What?
You break up the awkwardness, honestly, and you.
I feel the air. I feel the air with noise. That's how I feel. I don't feel big.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know that it's so much like big personalities because you're not in day to day, you're not a big colorful person.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm comparing you to me, I definitely have more animation and, you know, but that being said, you definitely have the ability to make situations comfortable that she would be extremely uncomfortable in.
Right.
And so I think that's what she's saying is that not necessarily it's a big, huge personality, but that ability where she can sort of step back and be like, yeah, that's what I would have said. Answer it. You know, so if I'm talking to somebody and I'm like, hey, so where are you from? What do you do? And she's like, I want to know all the answers to this question. She's going to ask him though. So for me, that's why I think personalities like this, where for you and I, it took a little bit, and it still is a work in progress, I guess, but I am the talker and he is not, but it works because I'm like, I made a new friend, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And realize that it works out for all of us.
Yeah. I'm thankful when he comes back and he's like, yeah, I met the people down the street. And I'm like, oh, awesome. And he's like, yeah, they have a kid. They've been to, they used to live in North Carolina. They do paddle boarding too.
When we were living on the West Coast, I met the whole,
yeah.
thing.
And, I mean, kids will do that.
Literally, it was like 1 week, I met everyone on the thing just because I was outside,
But kids will do that. The kids brought all of us outside, or brought you outside. I mean, I was still I was pregnant and
Yeah,
or
with
just
Dana.
gave birth with Dane and whatever. So I was like not going outside. And so yeah, you met everybody because Naya wanted to go outside and ride his bike, and you met the whole block
The
was full with
whole
kids. Everybody
I'm
had
playing
a
with the
kid or
kids.
two.
I don't even know their parents. I'm chasing kids, just kind of like we knew each other for years. I'm freeze tagging them.
Yeah.
Like it was this grown man chasing the kid. Hey,
Yup.
tag, you're in. Like to the dad. He's like, whoa, who are you? Like,
I mean, on that whole block, I think we may not have known like 2 people out of like 15 people, like 15 houses. Like we might not have known like 2 of them.
And it was
But
probably the 2 that nobody knows. Or
Yeah. Or they don't have kids, so they don't
like
come
you
outside
cross the
or
street when
whatever,
you
yeah.
pass their house and you circle back and you're like,
Don't walk on their
it sucks
sidewalk.
you in. Yeah,
Do not
it's
walk
got
on
this.
their
the only house with a cloud over it.
Yeah, it's got like a bush hedge along the sidewalk, and it just like an arm comes out. And...
But I wonder what is better, or what makes more friends. Like, does it matter?
It's a yin and
What-
a yang.
What makes more friends, or what makes more genuine connections?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Until next time.
I don't know.
No.
Until next.
Until next time.
No, that's a good thing. I think, in my opinion, the more laid back creates a genuine relationship. I think a little bit faster in a way,
Yeah.
in my opinion, because I think
longevity?
the big. I don't know about longevity. I just think the big personality is quick, like a flash in the pan. So sometimes it could not be as in depth as someone that's kind of more receptive, laid back, observing it and taking it all in.
I literally do not feel as deep of a connection with people that I start interactions with until almost the 5th, 6th, 7th. Like the first like couple interactions are so awkward for me. And because I don't feel comfortable enough until I get to that 4th, 5th, 6th time that we're meeting, because then I'm starting to pick up on their cues, their body language, the things that they like to talk about, how they're being open with me or how they're being closed with me, what they want to share with me or what they don't want to share with me. Like, so I think until that point is when I start building that relationship, or I walk away from the relationship, start not
feel
wanting
like
to hang
Anthony-
out anymore.
I feel like Anthony's face might be thinking the same thing I am, because I'm like, wow, you think about all of that when you first meet somebody?
Yeah, because I'm not.
No, I'm like,
I'm
girl,
not,
what are we
yeah.
doing?
No, I'm
What's this?
awkward. I'm awkward. I don't ask the questions, so I'm not even learning about the things that you're asking when you first meet people.
But I'm
know?
just asking, like, most of my questions are curiosity.
Yeah.
So it's not out of any judgment, it's not out of anything. And so sometimes people will take that as judgment because I'm so I come out, but I'm
absolutely.
just like, where's that sweatshirt from?
Yeah.
Because I'm like curious about it and I like the colors on it.
Yeah.
then
Where
it's like,
most people are like, wait, what do you mean?
wait,
You don't
like,
like it? Is
you
it
don't
wrong? And I'm
like-
like, no, I'm just asking. Like, I'm just,
no,
and-
you sure?
yeah.
Right? Like,
Which is an interesting point, because I think, like, for me, it's more of like a benefit of the doubt type thing, you know, where it's like, if I'm just hanging out with somebody, like, we're probably cool, we're probably gonna hang out, you're probably a good person, and I'm probably a good person, and we can just hang out and be cool. But I don't need to know, like, the whole backstory. We don't need to have a whole, like, conversation
Until maybe later
about
down
stuff.
the road.
Yeah, maybe later down the road, but, like, let's just be cool and, like, hang out and chill. I don't need to, like, fill everything up with, like, where's your sweater from?
Yeah. I
Red
would never
shirt
think,
guy.
but I wouldn't think unless.
Red polo every
you
time.
gotta. That's it.
Every time.
So basically, what we're saying is like, I'm with you. We need to know a little bit more of what's going on. Curiosity, not necessarily judgmental. Just kind of know. But correct
I
me if
don't
I'm
have
wrong.
that curiosity.
You guys are okay with like not knowing everything because you give the benefit of the doubt. See, it's I'm not that way. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I need to know the story. I need to build it. I need to.
That's so crazy.
I need to know the you know the whole picture. I don't necessarily need to know the end though. That was like
Well,
I like to know the end, but I don't need to know the end.
Well,
Sometimes we like to grow with our friends too. Like,
Like,
right.
we're
So
still
when I
gonna
say
accept you
end,
as our friend. Like,
Wait, let me
no matter if you grow or.
let me clarify.
know.
Not end of the relationship. So like if there's a story to it, Like, I don't need to know the end of the story. I'm okay with not knowing the end, but if I'm going through the story, learning about a person, building that friendship, I kind of got to know at a curiosity level those details. Did they have a red shirt? Why did they have a red shirt?
So what I think is interesting is like we're getting to the same point where it's like you guys are okay with being friends with whoever you meet because you just want to talk to them, right? And I personally am like okay with being friends with people just because they're people.
Right.
Not saying that you guys aren't, but like I don't need to know their whole backstory. Like I'm just assuming. So like everybody's kind of like coming to the same initial like joining point where it's like let's all hang out and be cool. But where we go from that point, you guys want to talk and like ask a bunch of questions and figure everything out, and we're like, okay, cool, let's just hang out and see where things go.
That's exactly.
But we're all cool with like hanging out and like you know, just being cool with each other.
That's interesting. I wonder if there's another type.
Yeah.
If there's another type out there. Like it's just a coincidence that you and I are similar, and then you two are similar. Is it like, would there be a different type? Have you met anybody who was? I mean, because it's kind of two extremes, right? Like you got the I don't say in your face, but the ask the questions, the curious, boom, 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 and then you have the opposite spectrum of laid back, get to know, kind of benefit of the doubt. Is there anything else?
Well, I've had people where they don't, you know, and it's not so much building a relationship, but it's one of those where they don't care to know anything about the person they're talking to. They just want to portray what they are, or you know, where they're like, we're gonna be friends now, and I don't care to ask what you're doing. And to me, which may be because I'm overly curious about the other person, that when I don't get asked things, I wonder why.
Is that a friendship?
But wait. The question is, are they younger or are they older? Because what you're saying to me represents a younger person who's just wants like that party, if you want to say, or that, you know, Instagram. I hate to say Instagram, or that. You know what I mean?
There
like
goes
that,
all the followers.
Yeah, right. Like no, like the,
we were at 4.
Yeah.
Now we're
Cut that out.
now it's just your mom.
But like if that is is that a younger person who just wants that, like that moment?
So I see where you're getting at, and I think if I can tie it all together with what you're saying, is we're talking about like all 4 of us at some point want to be friends with people for like the group, you know, like hey, we all understand that like being friends and having a group, you know, is good. But I think what you're saying is like there's some people that just want to do it for whatever benefits them. So whether that's somebody saying like, hey, you're really cool and I want to hang out with you, you know, because you're the coolest guy, or like I don't care about your story, you know, like let's just, you know, like
make a story.
Right, or something. And so kind of the same thing where I'm not sure that I would classify it as like young and old, because I think it could be like across the spectrum. But I think maybe the other classification of person is the person that's not looking for a like mutual back and forth friendship more than it's just someone to like boost them up.
To be, yes, because to me, even out of my curiosity, and I've known you for many years, and I think out of your curiosity, it is never to establish anything in my brain. It's to learn about you. And to me, when I ask questions of my friends or find out where they're from, it, you know, how they grew up, things like that, it is to find out their personality and maybe why they tick. And it is never a judgment or a hierarchy. And I think there's some people out there who utilize these questions, which maybe is why it's off-putting sometimes when you and I ask, you know, questions that people think, well, why are you asking that? What is the reason behind it? For me, I'm like, there's no reason behind it.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I want to know why you're...
There's no intention, no end game.
It's never like self-validating.
Right.
None of us want to like validate ourselves by asking questions
Right.
or befriending someone or
Right.
doing whatever to like put ourselves up. It was like
I just want genuine connection when I'm
Right.
starting
Right.
to meet friends, especially lately. I mean, even with the pandemic and everything, like I feel like I haven't made a ton of friends anyway. Even moving here,
this
like
pandemic
it's
is
just
great.
Yeah.
But here's
She's actually loving it. She's like, this is amazing. I
Yeah.
don't have to talk to anybody.
but here's where
I'm glad our neighbors are really nice.
Yeah.
'cause-
here's
Which
where
we've
I
been lucky.
struggle.
Neighbors have been lucky. We got you lucky, you
Even-
and
yeah.
next door, and then Carla, and like all of our neighbors have been great.
But
I think that has something to do with us. No, I'm joking.
yeah. So here's where I struggle though with the personality I have is networking from a more professional approach.
I love
What do you mean?
networking.
I
I
sh-
really love it.
See, I struggle because I'm genuinely curious. So when I'm asking questions, it's because I'm genuine. But how I understand networking is like you're trying to ask questions to create a connection to get to another
Right.
space. And so I struggle with it because sometimes how I interpret networking is the expectation is for you to go to these events or these situations
Yeah.
to get to so someone could get to know you. But I may ask a question that has nothing to do with what I'm trying to network with. I'm just genuinely curious. Like, oh, you got a kid that's wrestling. That has nothing to do with me trying to network. I'm like, wow, what do they wrestle? How much do they weigh? What? Oh, you know, and it completely takes us off the path of networking.
Yeah.
It could be twofold though, because I know, like, wow, I really like this guy, but maybe he likes me because I'm more of a wrestler, not because I am doing what the networking event is supposed to be doing. Like, so I
Well,
struggle with that.
In a network environment,
I say network
yes.
environment
I mean,
specifically.
you're there to network. You're there. So like, why go to that meeting or that event if you're not gonna make a connection? It's almost like the intention is to make a connection to better your
I struggle.
business or better your whatever the networking event is for.
So, but even if I go with the intent to network,
'Cause it gets me
I'm the
inspired.
red shirt guy. Why do you have
What-
a red shirt?
well-
right? Like,
And I think I know what you're saying is not that he is diverting the way you're acting or you're not asking different questions, but the fact that you would be the same as if we went to a bar and I said, this is my friend Ted.
yeah.
You would talk to him the same way as if you went to a networking place and met the same person, but yet in that scenario, you're then all of a sudden looked at as you're just trying to
Make a
ask me these questions so you can sell me something or network with me.
Yeah.
Where if you go to the bar and meet someone else's friend and you ask those questions, it's just read as like, oh, this is just a nice guy
Yes.
chatting it up and
Yeah.
making a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
So I get that because I've done that and I've done that with him, especially with his work, where I'm like, it's hard to navigate sometimes that like
Yeah.
I want to act the same, but you can't because it's
Right.
read different
Right.
in different scenarios.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I'm saying the same thing, but what group am I in? How are they gonna?
Scenario
Yeah.
environment, yeah.
I mean, I definitely prefer the
I don't
the
understand
more
that at all.
genuine.
I don't know.
No, because it works for you.
Did it
works.
make sense?
Right.
Did it make sense?
It makes it, but for
No, but I don't understand where you're coming from with that. You know what I mean? Where it's like I've always said, like, say what you mean what you say. Not saying that you don't, but like I don't use like extra filler or extra things. So like I don't know. I wouldn't understand where like
Well, I
people
think-
would be like, why are you talking and asking me so many questions? Because I don't
'Cause-
ask so many questions.
Right.
exactly, and so it works. You guys, I think it works if you go to network because you kind of more of a like a you get to think 5 minutes on the question you're gonna ask, right?
Right.
Vice, I don't. For me, I think about it, but it's not 5 minutes. It's like, oh, you got this. Oh, not saying that I'm not thinking about networking or where I'm going, but to me, that's like the last thing on my plate.
Right.
I'm like, wow, I like that red shirt.
Yeah.
And then I'm just
And
off
then-
on red shirt. Again.
Yeah, well, and then,
You
but
know, like-
also, it's one of those things where if you're talking to somebody, you say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and even if they say back, hi, my name is so-and-so, and they have an accent, where's your accent from? And then they talk about that. And then it snowballs into something else for me where I'm like, I could be talking about anything, and then just something goes off on a tangent. I keep wanting to ask and find out, as opposed to, Eric's just like, I mean, he said his name was Brian.
Yeah. And that's so funny that you would say that because, like, if I was to ask somebody where their accent is from, I would feel like I am going beyond a boundary that I shouldn't go.
Oh.
Like, I feel like I'm prying
See,
do you feel like
and being judgmental on their accent.
do you feel if somebody were to ask you that person is being judgmental to you?
No, I don't. But if I was to ask that person, I wouldn't ask them out of respect for whatever accent they are talking to me in.
And here's what I think is like, yeah. And here's what I think when I like ask a question like that,
Yeah.
I'm almost a little bit afraid of like the follow up after that. So it'll be like, where's your accent from? And they're like, I'm Irish. Like, how do you not know that I'm Irish? And I'm like,
really? Because
And then I'm like, because I've never been to Ireland. What do you mean?
I would have had
but
a
it's
quick.
like the follow up. I'm like,
Keep talking
I'm not
because I'll know for
quick-witted.
next time.
Yeah, I would be like, hey,
not
where's your
quick-witted.
accent from? Oh, I'm from Ireland. Really? Where at? You didn't know? Like, if they telling me I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. So where are you from in Ireland? Like,
Clearly,
my
'cause
mom's
I just-
Irish,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
I would say something like
Yeah.
that. Like, oh, I like Jägermeister. Like,
But also, depending on the situation, that's German.
exactly. But see how I broke the tension. I just broke the tension.
no. But then your network is shot.
That's why I struggle. That's what I said. I struggle with those. I'm like, I love Jägermeister. Like, what? See, and that's why I can't network.
That Eiffel Tower is pimp.
I love Budweiser.
Yeah.
Like, what? Guinness? No,
It's on point.
You're so American.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying that's why, like, I networking.
But yes, and so for me, like, if it was casual conversation and somebody said you didn't know that, I'd be like, no, that's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
Networking, they'd be like, you didn't know that, I'd be like, I have nothing other than cuss words to
Yeah.
say. And that's when I freeze up, is because you're just like,
Yeah,
I've got to be professional, and now I'm frozen. And so that for me is, like you said, where I feel like now I'm going to be judged, I'm going to be put in a box because I'm this idiot trying to network and I screwed up.
Yeah, so, and that's an interesting point. Like, what you're saying is, like, you're, when you get to, like, almost the, like, formal setting, or, like, the formal interaction, you freeze up, where, like, me, maybe you, like, the informal, like, you know, BSing back and forth, I'm like,
Yeah. No, I don't want that.
Yeah,
no, thank
I don't
you.
want that.
So I had to learn to flip. So being professional, I get quiet. I become very introverted, but I struggle because I can't maintain. Like, you guys seem like you could maintain, analyze, know how to and what to say. When I flip it and I get introverted, so to speak, when I then speak, I revert back to my curiosity, which comes across as, like, were you listening to what I was saying kind of idea. And so when normally I take cues, I have to take cues from people, because if I'm asking something and they're like, did you, yeah, you were saying this, it's my cue to get back to the point.
Yeah.
Not that I always go off on it, because obviously some, this is circumstantial sometimes as well, but sometimes if I start going off on there, I take that cue to get back on track.
I try, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, I have to though, sometimes. Like, I have no choice.
I tell him,
I wish
like,
I had a choice.
I always tease him, but I'm like, when I get super nervous, when I know that I have to be professional or, like, gear it in, like, I can, but then, like, if somebody asks me a question, I get, like, Tourette's. I'm just like,
Yeah.
and just go off, and I'm like, my name is Amanda, and I, like, I ate Cheetos for breakfast. Like, I don't know what to say.
What's your accent?
Yeah, like, what?
What's your accent?
They haven't said anything yet. So I just, like, freeze up where I'm like,
even
I don't
say
know
it.
what's happening. They're like, what's your name? I'm like, September. Wait, what?
So I think what's interesting though is, like, we asked the original question about, like, friendship and stuff, and, like, how do you make friends? And it's like, for the past, I don't know how long we've been talking, like, it's all of us have been able to, like, incorporate some part of, like, how we have, like, remained friends or became friends in the first place. You know.
Yeah, and I think it's just kind of like the yin and yang, like we were saying. So the yin, like what I got is yin and yang, and kind of like environmental, like what environment you are in could benefit. I don't say hurt you, but you have to learn how to adjust to that environment. That's kind of what.
But genuine friendship comes from genuine curiosity and genuine connection.
Just being
honestly,
being who you are.
Yeah.
Meaning what you say. If you're more of a laid back, if you want to say.
Doesn't matter your personality.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're starting the conversation or keeping the conversation. You know, it's.
You have to be like brave, uncomfortable, like comfortable with being uncomfortable, regardless of what personality. Because even though I may be a little bit more, hey, not in your face, but hey, more aggressive with it, I'm still uncomfortable to some extent. You know, I'm comfortable just saying it that way, but you guys are comfortable being this, like uncomfortable in that manner, talking and trying to get information out. And then obviously environment is gonna influence that to some extent. Kind of networking or work or casual, formal, informal.
So let us know what kind of personality you are. How do you make friends? Are you mine and Eric's kind of personality, or are you Anthony and Amanda's
Red
personality?
shirt guy, what's your accent? Jaeger.
That good old Irish liquor.
So comment down below
As
and
we
let
drink
us know.
tequila.
So, but at the end of the day,
It's from
cheers.
Wisconsin.
Hey, we can't get a word in edgewise.
Cheers to friendship.
Friendship.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, big. Talks and tequila.
Have a good night. Bye.
Peace.
No.
And scene.
Mike,
I'm putting emphasis on it.
putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.